As a person who only does retro reviews of things I haven't played, I know that the general consensus was that when Silent Hill left the hands of Konami's developers, it got genuinely terrible in comparison to their 6th gen Quadrilogy, but every game deserves a fair shake. Silent Hill Homecoming tells the tale of Alex Shepard, a returning veteran looking for his missing son, and throughout that journey discovers the plot that Silent Hill's cultists have brought to Shepard's Glen involving mass kidnapping, and the other Hill's influence bleeding into his hometown, and he's forced to use his combat training and quick reflexes to save the town and his brother because obvious hero motivation. The huge change that Homecoming brought with it was an improved combat mechanic that tried to revamp the usual sticky and purposefully atrocious inability to hit things with a 2x4, and what that means for you is that if you ever wanted to see what would happen if Silent Hill and Resident Evil got together, this would be their love baby, as the shoulder camera and simple moveset pits a Leon contemporary in an even scarier setting. While the combat may not be true blue Silent Hill, I do applaud Double Helix for taking some of the annoying survival elements out and replace them with legitimate non-attrition scares, because Alex is given enough resources to be able to defeat most of the enemies if the player isn't a newbie to the series, although enemies such as the Schism and Smog do make me want to throw the combat designer into a brick wall, young Kratos style. Yeah, that's where Double Helix missed the mark on bringing Silent Hill to the next generation. The Silent Hill series is always supposed to be a representation or comment on the personal problems of the main character and what enemies and set pieces show up, but Homecoming didn't jot that one down and instead spent most of the class writing down random scary things it could think of and made a game out of that. Compare Pyramid Head's punishment and self-guilt tones to the reasoning behind Amion's design, being that Josh had a thing for playing with spiders, because of course he did, and then there are monsters who are living in the wrong game, such as the rabid dogs from the original, and the totally out-of-place sexy nurses from 2. And the appearance of Pyramid Head in cutscenes, but not as a boss fight, make Double Helix look like the annoyingly late trend chaser to court fans instead of creating its own icons. And what makes it even more of a Johnny Cage style nut punch is that Homecoming managed to do a better job in making Pyramid Head scary than Konami through an improved design, animation work, and generally better cutscenes. Say what you will, but I got more out of Pyramid Head cutting Alex's dad literally in half right in front of me than watch him having badly animated sex all the way from a dark closet. While Double Helix scrambles to find a way to make a mark on gaming history and make up some unique set pieces on the spot, some of which were half-baked at best, they did get some good points, especially with the plot. The cultist plot of Silent Hill hasn't seen many good graces in games like Origins 1 and 3, where it comes off like the cult are just planning ridiculous religious ceremonies to please their gods in an isolated space. But in Homecoming, with all the mass kidnappings and the other Hill coming along for the ride, the cultist plot gets a good fleshing out, and the solid plot makes it a much scarier and much overreaching group. And let's not forget the showiness of the group's sadist nature in the game's final bunker level. The game gets a good use out of fast-paced levels rather than sprawling obstacle-filled locations found in the original Silent Hill that keep the player moving and wanting to know more about why Shepard's Glen is slowly falling to ruin as the inhabitants keep vanishing all around him. Yet within those levels, Double Helix falls into the Resident Evil 4 puzzle traps, where most of the game is key hunting and the rest are simple logic puzzles instead of using the riddles that Konami Quadrilogy was known for. But in spite of Silent Hill Homecoming being distributed outside the famous Konami Quadrilogy and its few missteps into iffy design along the way, the game is still a solid effort in delivering the next-gen scares that Konami would have knocked out of the park if they still gave a damn and stopped licensing it to other people. But instead, Double Helix decided to shift focus from the puzzles to the combat and plot, giving it the feel of a Silent Hill game playing Resident Evil using its 4-style simple but effective combat, employing satisfying combos and one-button dodges that give Alex enough resources to take down all of his foes, and a more narrative-focused triumph over evil plot that shows that the Order was a more powerful foe than we thought of when we were playing 1 and 3. The story concludes with a bad ball dropping that showed Alex killed his brother by accident and was then sent to an asylum shortly after, where he deteriorated into the point he is now believing that he was a soldier. Yet Homecoming had great design, combat, and was a satisfying game without drowning the player in obtuse survival challenges. So if you need another survival horror fix, check out this 2008 Western attempt, because it's still a good entry to the series without being world-breaking. But next time we'll be looking at the last survival horror Silent Hill game, Downpour. So until that time, here's the final scoreboard. And a heartfelt victory for gamers. See you spooks next time.